I love Hollow Knight. I loved it when I played it, and the feeling has only grown stronger with time. So, that combined with the more than 6-year wait gave me some high expectations for Silksong. The hype for this game was so strong, in fact, that it put Steam on life support. I can't buy it! What the fuck? And after beating the game, including the secret ending, I'm afraid to say, I loved it! But I have a few criticisms to get out of the way first. Before we get into that though, I want to talk about the difficulty. I don't want to call this a negative or a positive, just a recommendation. I've heard a lot of people criticize the difficulty in this game, so I'll make it known now. This game is difficult. I strongly recommend playing Hollow Knight before Silksong. For one, it contains context for Silksong, obviously, but also because looking back, Hollow Knight almost looks like a tutorial in comparison. The first problem I noticed is this game's currency system. I'm broke. Half the enemies, maybe less, don't drop money. I made it to this area called Shellwood. I couldn't afford this area's fast travel, this area's bends, not even this area's map. I think there are 3 enemies, not types of enemies, 3 enemies in total that drop rosaries in this area. By the way, rosaries are the money currency in this game. Some problems that I mentioned in my Hollow Knight review are also still present here, namely runbacks. In my Hollow Knight review, I listed runbacks as my main problem. But I trusted Team Cherry, the developers of the game, would solve this problem in Silksong, maybe adding something like a Stake of Marika system. They did not. In my opinion, the problem actually became worse. A number of enjoyable bosses in this game are hurt by a tedious runback. It genuinely frustrated me how much potential was lost due to an easily solvable problem. I consider this Silksong's worst issue. Silksong has a lot of problems I noticed when it comes to tediousness. For example, some bosses have you defeat an enemy rush before facing them. Every single time. And the final problem, bile water. I hate bile water with every ounce of my soul. Fun? There's no such thing as fun in bile water. Only pain and suffering. If I was told that I lost 1 year of my life from playing through this section, I'd reply, only that much? The developers poured all of their anger and sadistic tendencies into this one area, and when the cup started overflowing, they didn't stop. Anyways, the positives. First of all, the music and art is still amazing, arguably even better. And by music, I don't mean the novice works made by Christopher Larkin. I mean this masterpiece. It has a lot of new systems and mechanics as well. Hollow Knight players will not be bored. You can complain about this game, especially bile water. But you have to give Team Cherry credit. They are not afraid to experiment and get creative, even with so many expectations on their back. Out of the new systems and mechanics introduced, I also can't think of a single one I disliked. In my opinion, most of them only improved upon the game, adding more customization or making gameplay more strategic and engaging. At the very least, I felt neutral about the new additions. The story is very good. It felt easier to follow and more hands-on than Hollow Knight's, while still keeping some things to theorize about. One section of the game in particular got me very invested, but even bringing up its name would probably be a spoiler. I love the characters in this game as well. I will forever miss you, Silk the Mighty, but now is the time of Shama. There are bosses in this game which feel unfair. It feels like the game sometimes forgets I'm not actually a spider and don't have 6 eyes to track everything on screen. But a lot of the bosses were surprisingly fun and unique, particularly the main required bosses. I've heard someone before refer to them like a dance, and I think that's the perfect way to describe it. You memorize the boss's attacks, their signals, and make up your own choreography to match theirs. This is also why simple and easy bosses in the game can be so enjoyable to fight. Plus the whole analogy fits with the theme of the game. Silksong is also huge. Hollow Knight already had a lot of content. I was surprised by how huge its map was. But Silksong has even more. For comparison, I have 111% completion in Hollow Knight. Plus I had to replay a third of the game again for footage. My playing time in Hollow Knight is 36 hours. In Silksong, I have 85% completion, and I already have a playtime of 48 hours. Of course, more content doesn't always mean better, but since most of the content is unique and not boring, I would consider it a positive in this case. An improvement from Hollow Knight I want to note, by the way, is transportation. With Hornet's movement and abilities, along with the many shortcuts that can be discovered in this game, backtracking doesn't feel as bad as it did in Hollow Knight, which was a problem I listed in my review. I would even go as far to say it can be a little fun to figure out how to go through a route as fast as possible. But maybe that's the Stockholm Syndrome talking from the runbacks. All in all, I recommend buying and playing Silksong. It has a few bad problems, and I hope Team Cherry takes them into consideration with later patches and their next projects. But the positives outweigh the negatives. It is easily more than worth the $20 price tag in my eyes.